do the same thing as I did the other day and do this in a single take if I can. The only exception will be if I need to go to the bathroom. If I need to pee, then I'll probably pause the recording. But I want to be as efficient time-wise as I can. Today's one of those days. Lots of days are one of those days where everything is back to back to back to back. And I think it's something that I need to address with my calendar management and maybe look at spreading things out a bit more. The way I do things is I'll have days that are just one set theme, if you like, one set project or whatnot. But then there are other things that can bleed over into other days, which then creates more additional work. Whereas if I had like a filter of a certain amount every day instead, that might be easier. Like, it's much easier to do 10,000 steps every day than it is to do 70,000 steps one day a week. The only problem with that is context switching. So context switching is the idea of when you change your focus from one thing to another, you're not as efficient because of the time it takes to actually start doing the new thing. So it's taking your attention away from the thing you're currently doing onto something else when you context switch and go backwards and forwards. Whereas when you get into like a deep state of focus about something, you can just put your best foot forwards on that and just keep working on that one thing as much as possible until that's completed instead. Shoelaces undone. At the minute, I'm starting to feel a bit better than the last couple of weeks or so of training, the extra fatigue and whatnot. Still got a lot in my hips and my elbows. Well, I don't know how my elbows are actually because I've not benched yet, which is obviously what I'm doing now. So today's bench. Yeah, elbows still sore. That's fine. 60 for 3. Top set's 130 something, I think, or 120 something. I don't know. I'll have a look in a second. It is. Oh, it's only 127 for 3x3, so this should be fairly quick. I'm saying only. I guess it's a decent weight, or I think it's a decent weight. My best set of 3 is maybe 130 or 132, but I would like to move these fairly sharpish, so hopefully they will. Now, like usual, velocity goes on at 100. I like to keep it consistent and go off how 100 moves. To be fair, it's not going to inform any of my decisions, but I still just like to have the data. So when I look back at the data, you can download all the data from the velocity onto a single spreadsheet, and then I can filter it. And if I know that the lightest weight I use is 100 kilos, it means that I don't have any skewed data from lighter loads. Like, what if one day I had 60 or 80 or whatever? I don't bench 60 as fast as I could bench 60 when I'm warming up. There's not really any point. So, finally, doing these comp style now, which is nice. So, looking for a little bit of a pop off the chest. Ideally, given this point in training, I want to see 0.55 or more. Oh, 0.55, bang on. that was meh. My biggest struggle right now is discomfort in my elbows, but it is better today than it was 2 days ago, and it's better 2 days ago than it was 3 days before that, whenever it was the previous session. So now it's just managing fatigue and removing as much fatigue as possible, ready to effectively show off come competition day. I have no idea what bench attempts I'm going to do. My PB is 155, but I'm stronger now. However, I have not benched too heavy in the gym with a pause. Mostly been doing touch and go, which is not generally how I would like to train, but with this phase of training, this style of training, and my weaknesses, that seems logical as what to do, and it's what my coach has recommended. I trust what he says, so I will do what he says. So although I coach people myself, I do have a coach, a guy called Aaron Hull, super strong. There are not many people I would trust to do my programming, but he is one of those very few people. And the other thing I like as well is it's not just black and white. It's not like he just says do this. There is back and forth, so there's my input too. And everything is logical, and he wouldn't get me to do something he hasn't either done himself or tested with other people too. Or in the circumstance of it is something new, we talk about it, and it's like, this is a new approach, let's try this. It's not just a hope and a whim. Right. 127.5, 3 sets of 3 with a 3-minute rest. I actually will do the 3 minutes rest today, just with it being slightly heavier. I mean, it's a cool, I'm getting some chalk by the way, that's why I'm not on camera. I'm just starting to feel, hands are a little bit slippery. Not sure if it's sweat or what, but anyway. So with it being relatively heavy now, I'm going to actually use a stopwatch and time my rests so that I do them properly, because other days I've made them shorter than they maybe should, and then obviously that can affect the speed and whatnot, whereas now at this point actually tapering and peaking is important. Right then. Oh, it's nice. Nice and easy, actually. Easier than I expected. That first rep was 0.47, so I started a stopwatch this time so I can keep these high quality. I want to go up already, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with the plan. And then we've got 3 minutes of rest. And since I'm not going to stop the recording, it means there's 3 minutes of me talking nonsense. Or I could just stand here in silence. Nutrition. There's a thing that I think is important. I talk about this all the time. You do the basic stuff, and you make the basic stuff better. So with nutrition, everything macro scale towards micro scale. So macro scale are the things that are important and the things that matter, and then micro scale, you know, or you can almost look at that as the small actions and habits that you do towards it. So for example, a habit that I have is I don't count something as a meal unless I have a source of protein with it. So if I can't have a source of protein with it, then I won't have it. I don't have snacks, I only have meals, but I have usually 4 or 5 meals a day. The difference is that each one has to have protein in it. I generally try and have at least about 40 grams of protein per meal. So I'm trying to make sure that my energy level is stable, the amount of protein I'm giving myself is stable throughout the day. It's more so about having that, not having big peaks and valleys. I want things to be more consistent. The exception to that is when I'm training, I want to have more of a peak of energy in my bloodstream, so carbohydrates, fat, whatever, so there's actual fuel to use. You're not using the fuel in your bloodstream directly when you're exercising, you're using the fuel that's actually inside your muscles, but then that fuel can go into the muscles, then you've got more. Yeah. Something I see people worry about is like glycogen replenishment. If you're lifting weights, especially for strength training, you're not getting through all of the glycogen that you've got in a session. You probably go like 4 days worth of training for how most strength athletes train before having to worry about glycogen stores being empty. Don't get me wrong, you get through some of them, but you're not going to get rid of them completely. Right, that's 2:45, so we'll call it 3 minutes by the time I actually start the set. 3 reps again, see if this one can be better. That second rep was a bit slow. I felt a little in my wrist, felt like it rolled a little bit on the second rep, which threw off the bar path slightly. Nothing too bad. And like I said before, I like to do these just to keep the shoulders moving. This is not any appreciable stimulus. This is not going to cause my rear delts to be hypertrophying. It's not going to cause my rear delts to be getting bigger or significantly stronger, but it just helps the shoulders to feel good. So, just one more, and then a couple of sets of rows and cows. That's it. Dead simple. And head back home. Already done my work, gym work this morning here, and it's home for other work this afternoon. One thing actually that I could do to improve is what time I go to bed. I've been a bit inconsistent in that. So normally I would go to bed between 10 and 1:30, but last night it was about 1 o'clock, and I'm super gassy. I'm sorry about that if you're watching. I'm burping a lot. Something I could improve is my sleep. So I've been going to bed normally between 10 and 1:30, but last night I didn't get to bed till about 1. Completely my own fault, but you know when you're working on something and you're just fully focused and in the zone, that happened, and then I realised that about 10:30 I hadn't eaten enough. I was like, I need to eat something. So I got some food, started working again. The next thing you know, it's like 1 o'clock, I should go to bed. Excuse me. So I was still up at 6. So last night I didn't sleep anywhere near long enough. In an acute setting, sleep deprivation doesn't seem to affect actual 1 rep max strength, but it does affect your ability to do reps. And then obviously long term it's not good. But with sleep, I would look at it the same way as I look at everything else. So macro scale, you sleep enough during the week, then you sleep enough every day, and then you sleep in a similar time frame, and then is the quality of the sleep good? Like there's different layers to everything. There's always different layers and different levels, isn't there? So for myself, the next thing I need to do to improve my sleep is to have a more set schedule, potentially having a cut-off time for work or something. But that's the problem is, although it's work, it doesn't feel like work because it's all things that I'm enjoying. So if I have free time, it's what I would do anyway. So then is it work or is it not work? Because it's what I would do. If you gave me free rein to do what I want, I would work on building up, coaching people and helping people out. But that's technically my job. So is it work? Is it not work? Who knows? suppose you can't work as the stuff I don't like doing. So like the admin or like talking to the accountants. No offense to the accountants, but like I don't like paying HMRC and things like that. Obviously I still do it. I don't like doing that bit, so I guess that's the work. Right, that's 3 minutes. Last set. Best set. That's the way to do it, isn't it? 180. I'm not saying this is 180. I'm reminding myself that 180 is my delusional goal. Breezy. That set was decent. That was actually on average faster than the last two. So that's cool. All good. Right. I will end the velocity tracking part of the session and then on to the next exercise. Horizontal row. 2 sets of 8. That's it. That's not too bad, is it? Ooh. I don't know if you can see me, or if you even want to see me, but I just move this here and then I'll get stuff set up. So for horizontal row, I have been doing upside down hex bar barbell rows, stood on the mats. So we'll go and grab the mats. Do I keep talking? Do I just leave it rolling? Who knows? So these mats are what we bought when I opened the gym, and they are fantastic. They're also like a reasonable weight to them. They're quite strong, quite stable. I will say, after yesterday's RDLs specifically, my lower back, my erectors are sore, which is unusual at this point in a training block. But I think it's just because of the novelty, and it should pass. What am I doing? It should pass soon. So with that said, I'm going to go much, much lighter than I would normally on these, because I don't want to add the extra fatigue. And at this point, like I said before, it's just about doing enough to maintain a bit of muscle. I'm not trying to build any muscle at this point. I'm not trying to make my lats stronger at this point. Just keeping them moving. So 8 reps. All good. One more of them, and we'll move on. Nice and simple. And what I will do as well is I'll start putting these things away between sets, and then it's super easy curls and rear delts, and then start thinking about the rest of the day and just getting on with stuff. So this evening I've got a couple of appointments for people that would like to come and use the gym, which they are more than welcome to, but we just need to check and make sure it's the right gym for them, because this is not the place for everybody, and we want to make sure, so I would always want to make sure that I'm only taking people that we can help the best. So if someone came to me and was like, I want to train to get better at triathlons, I would very politely decline and suggest they go see someone else, because that's not a thing I'm good at. It's not a thing that I know. And when I say good at, I mean good at coaching. It's not a thing I have a lot of experience or knowledge in, so I wouldn't want to take people's money to do that. That feels dishonest, disingenuous and lacking in integrity, which I do not like. So that would be a no-no for me. So basically it's just checking, make sure it's the right place for people. And then there's some other bits and pieces that need doing too. Like I said yesterday, we're in 14 strong at the minute. So I've got a couple of hundred messages to reply to, which is quite a lot. So that's going to take a better part of a couple of hours to go through everything there. And then I need to make sure I'm eating more, because at the minute my appetite has disappeared because I'm not training as much. Volume and everything is down. It probably, from the outside looking in, looks like I'm doing almost the same, but for me the difference between like 2 sets and 4 sets is huge. And like doing that 4, my appetite is crazy high, yet going down to the 2 I'm like, whatever, take it, leave it. Not that bothered about food. It's a very strange feeling, but like right now I'm indifferent to food. I'm also, as of yesterday, reduced my caffeine intake too. You would think reducing caffeine intake would make you more hungry because caffeine suppresses appetite, but for some reason it's not. Anyway. It's almost boring. That's fine. They're done. Curls and rear delts. Again, just a tiny smidgen of activity, nothing insane. Don't know how long I've been here, but it can't be that long for this session. I tell you what I am looking forward to though, is the actual day of the competition. So I'm going to stay over the night before, so that I don't have to drive there and back on the same day. It's a couple of hours away, driving, maxing out on squat and deadlift, and driving another couple of hours. That's a recipe for unpleasantness, which I don't want. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay over. I found like a Premier Inn or something like that. It was like 30 quid for the night. So I think that's worth it. Also, I mean, we'll go there earlier on the Friday, get settled in. I'm not trying to make any kind of weight or anything for it. So we'll maybe go out for food or whatever. I'll weigh in, I don't know, 94, 95 maybe. I've gotten a bit heavier, it's fine. Like the end goal is to be strong, not to be strong just in a certain weight class. But I also want to be jacked too. I don't just want to be fat. So that's why we'll go up and then back down. Just have a look at this. Biceps. I'm getting distracted talking to myself. This me talking to myself and filming part of it came about from talking to Jack and Rach about how I literally will just start rambling about anything to do with training and nutrition and everything. They're like, just film it. So then I get stuff off my chest and it might help someone. Might help someone who's newer to all this. And it might help to see someone who's like a normal person. Like, I don't think I've got amazing genetics. I think I've just trained for a very long time, 20 years, the last 12 of which strength type training, on and off, different ways, different techniques, different sports. Like, progress isn't always super fast. Sometimes it's slow and sometimes it's boring, but it's that progress over the years that's important. So I seriously restart. Oh, that monster is coming straight back out of me. So I'm going to just call today burping. It's been maybe, what year is it? 23. So is it 22? No, 21. It was either 2020 or 2021. I don't remember. I started, it was around November time, I restarted training specifically for powerlifting after having time off. And that first session, I went over to Aaron's house and I think I hit a 170 squat, a 107 bench, and a 180 conventional deadlift, and maybe like a 200 sumo. So that was like the starting point a couple of years ago. But because obviously I'd been strong in the past, I got back to a decent strength level fairly quickly, like not too long. And then now I'm at the point of where I'm progressing it into like completely new levels of strength, like regardless of anything else I've done in the past. So that's cool. In hindsight, I'm torn between wishing I'd just carried on when I was younger and not, because if I had carried on when I was younger, I wouldn't be in the position I am now. I wouldn't know the things I know now, but I would also be a lot stronger. Or maybe I wouldn't, because you don't know what you don't know. So the next thing and last thing is rear delts. Super straightforward. And there's a view of the toilet too, you know, if that's something you're into. So these again, nice and easy, just keeping moving. This part of training I find a little bit boring, but it's necessary because it still needs doing. That's it. Put that bar away. I just need to grab those mats and put them away. Gather up my belongings, and then that'll be it for today. So I don't know how long this session has been, but I filmed it, and so that's it. I'll see you not tomorrow, because tomorrow is a day off. Here's a question for you. If you're still watching this, do you want me to film every day and film the days off / cardio? So I'm not doing cardio right now because it's so close to the competition, but when the competition is done, I will exercise every day. The other days tend to be like lighter cardio stuff. If you made it this far and you want me to do that, put a thingy, comment type of thing at the bottom, and if one person does, then I'll start doing it. That's my threshold is very low for how much I will just talk to myself. Right, this really is it. I need to go. I need to get some food, get on with my day. Speak later.